the human gift that forever shifted the balance of power with alien leaders. The Gathering of Stars. High Counselor Vex Brightstar of the Zenethi Empire stood at the pinnacle of the Galactic Council's chamber, a vast assembly hall that floated within the capital starbase of the Council. The room was immense, its arched ceilings etched with constellations from every corner of the known universe, a tribute to the diversity and unity that the Council was supposed to represent. Today, however, unity was strained. Whispers and murmurs echoed through the hall as representatives from every major civilization gathered, their collective gaze fixed on the far side of the room. The focus of attention was not on any familiar figure from the powerful Zenethi Empire, nor on the formidable, war-ready diplomats from the Kra'thak Dominion. Today, all eyes were on the humans. Vex's gaze fell upon the newly arrived human delegation with intrigue and perhaps a tinge of skepticism. Humans were, by most accounts, young and technologically limited compared to the vast, advanced societies that had thrived for millennia. He studied them as they entered, a tall, composed figure named Ambassador Marcus Rodriguez, and beside him, Trade Minister Luna Blackwood, an elegant woman with keen eyes and an air of quiet confidence. As they walked with purpose down the central aisle, they radiated an undeniable charisma, a sense of ease that bordered on audacity. Given their species' relatively low standing among the Council's power brokers, Vex sensed that they weren't here merely to listen. Today, the humans were here to make an impression. When the human representatives took their place at the center of the Council floor, silence swept over the room. The Galactic Council, representing over 100 species, each more complex and storied than the last, watched in anticipation. Vex himself leaned forward, intrigued and, against his instincts, slightly unnerved. Humans, while known for their stubborn diplomacy and a knack for survival, had yet to present anything that could fundamentally alter the galactic balance. And yet, rumors had circulated that they carried with them a gift, something that could sway power itself. High Counselor Vex opened the meeting with his customary calm and authority. Ambassador Rodriguez, Minister Blackwood, he intoned, his voice resonating through the chamber. The Council welcomes your presence, though I must admit, some of us are curious. Humanity has often been cautious, and yet you arrive now with whispers of a solution, a contribution that might be significant for all species. I believe I speak for everyone here when I ask, what exactly have you brought us today? Ambassador Rodriguez inclined his head in polite acknowledgement. Thank you, High Counselor Vex, and esteemed members of the Galactic Council. His voice was smooth, deliberate, with a tone that conveyed both respect and a hint of something more. We have brought a proposal, a technological breakthrough, if you will, but before we explain, it's essential to understand the current situation. The galaxy is fractured, trade wars threaten the stability of entire sectors, resource scarcity pits allies against one another, and countless civilizations are burdened by inefficiencies and bottlenecks that we believe are solvable. As he spoke, the Trade Minister, Luna Blackwood, tapped a small device on her wrist. Holographic projections materialized around them, showing graphs, models, and visualizations of galactic trade routes, energy flows, and resource networks. The holograms illustrated a staggering degree of complexity, interstellar highways, wormhole networks, and countless trade nodes where resources were either hoarded or misallocated. The counselors murmured in appreciation. The level of detail in the humans' projections was staggering. Vex, who had spent decades navigating the Council's intricacies, felt a jolt of surprise. These humans had clearly invested significant resources in analyzing the galaxy's interwoven economies. Minister Blackwood continued, her tone calm yet firm. We have developed a system, a technological solution that not only optimizes trade but enhances energy distribution. What we bring today is a means to ensure resource efficiency that could free up thousands of fleets, improve energy output by nearly 20%, and reduce interspecies conflicts over resources. In short, we offer the Galactic Council a foundation for sustainable peace. Vex felt the pulse of tension ripple through the room. This was more than an offer. This was a challenge. The implication was that humans, a species regarded by many as backward, had potentially identified a flaw in the galaxy's infrastructure that had eluded the brightest minds for centuries. It was a claim so bold that Vex couldn't help but feel both impressed and wary. From the far end of the hall, a gravelly voice rose. It was Supreme Envoy Hrax, a towering, armored diplomat of the Kra'thak Dominion. And what, precisely, do you expect in return for this gift? Hrax's tone was sharp, his skepticism palpable. Rodriguez didn't flinch. Nothing unreasonable, Supreme Envoy Hrax, he replied. We merely ask for a more active role in the Council, a seat at the table where decisions are made, with the trust and respect that our capabilities deserve. A ripple of disbelief spread through the hall, accompanied by a few scoffs and whispers. Humans on the Council? Truly, it was an audacious request, one that verged on presumptuous. High Counselor Vex leaned forward, scrutinizing the humans with a newfound intensity. You claim to offer peace, stability, and prosperity on a galactic scale, yet such a claim demands evidence. What exactly is this technology, this solution, that you believe could bring balance to us all? Minister Blackwood met his gaze with an unflinching stare. The technology is not a single device or tool, High Counselor. It is an advanced artificial intelligence, a system of algorithms and predictive analytics that can optimize resource distribution and adjust trade policies in real time. The result is an efficient, conflict-reducing, and self-sustaining galactic economy. A hush fell over the chamber. Artificial intelligence was hardly a novelty, but the humans were implying that their system had surpassed the limitations that even the most advanced civilizations had encountered. It promised an intelligence capable of processing and recalibrating the complexities of an entire galaxy, something that could effectively control and guide the distribution of wealth and power. Vex's mind raced, wrestling with the implications. If the humans could truly deliver what they promised, then the very structure of galactic politics was about to change, irrevocably. It would mean peace, or unimaginable power in the hands of those who controlled this technology. Rodriguez, sensing the gravity of the moment, spoke with a calm assurance. We do not expect you to simply accept our word. We are prepared to demonstrate the capabilities of this technology, but we believe that its value is such that we would be justified in seeking a seat on the Council, a position that we believe would ultimately benefit all. The Council chamber erupted into murmurs, debates igniting among the representatives. Some dismissed the proposal as human arrogance, others argued in favor of testing the technology, and a few even voiced concern over the implications of humans having such power. As the councillors deliberated, High Counselor Vex could feel a shift. The humans were no longer merely guests, they had thrown down a gauntlet that demanded a response. And deep within, he couldn't shake the feeling that this moment marked the beginning of a new era, one that would either elevate humanity or bring untold risks. For the first time in decades, the future of the galaxy felt uncertain, and it was because of humanity's gift, this technological wonder that, if real, could indeed shift the balance of power forever. The test of trust. The debate over humanity's offer raged on for hours. Counselors from every major power had weighed in, their opinions ranging from cautious optimism to outright dismissal. High Counselor Vex Brightstar listened closely, carefully observing not only what was said but how each representative presented their stance. The arrival of the humans had undoubtedly introduced a fault line among the Council's alliances, revealing deep-rooted suspicions and rivalries that, up until now, had remained hidden beneath a veneer of diplomacy. Finally, as the debate reached a crescendo, Vex raised his hand, signaling for silence. His voice, firm and resolute, echoed through the chamber. It seems clear to me that before any decisions are made, we must assess the validity of the humans' claim. Ambassador Rodriguez, Minister Blackwood, if you truly possess a solution that can benefit all, then a demonstration is in order. Will you allow us to witness this technology firsthand? The humans exchanged a glance, one laden with shared understanding and silent agreement. Minister Blackwood stepped forward, addressing the Council with a cool confidence. High Counselor, esteemed members of the Galactic Council, we anticipated such a request. In fact, we've prepared a live simulation to demonstrate the capabilities of our system. If you'll permit us, we'll activate the interface here. With a subtle nod from Rodriguez, Blackwood pressed a sequence on her wrist device, and an intricate holographic sphere materialized in the center of the Council floor. The sphere was a detailed representation of a galactic sector, trade routes, resource nodes, energy grids, and transportation lanes interlaced within a complex web of data. Observe, Blackwood said, this model represents the Tinal system, currently facing severe resource shortages and interplanetary conflicts due to inefficiencies and outdated policies. With your permission, I'll initiate our optimization sequence. Councillors leaned forward, captivated by the unfolding scene. High Counselor Vex himself could not tear his gaze away, entranced by the sheer scale and precision of the model. This was not merely a simulation, it was a live feed of the sector, connected directly to humanity's Galactic Distribution System, GDS. Activating now, Blackwood announced. In an instant, the projection flared to life. The GDS sprang into action, recalibrating trade routes and balancing resource allocation across planets. Resource-scarce worlds received surplus from more abundant ones. Energy output was rerouted to reduce bottlenecks. The model updated in real time, showing the positive impacts as tensions decreased and productivity increased across the system. The counselors stared in stunned silence. What they were witnessing was unprecedented. The GDS had reduced conflicts and maximized efficiency within minutes, something that would have taken the council years to achieve with traditional methods. Rodriguez allowed the demonstration to sink in before speaking. The Galactic Distribution System can operate autonomously or under council oversight. We're offering this as a gift to the galaxy. A system capable of enhancing peace and stability for every civilization present here today. From across the room, Supreme Envoy Hrax's cold, skeptical gaze softened into something approaching admiration. Remarkable, he muttered, more to himself than anyone else. His people, the Kra'thak Dominion, had long prided themselves on efficiency and strategic acumen, but even they had never envisioned a system with such transformative potential. Vex's mind raced as he considered the implications. If humanity's GDS could be integrated on a galactic scale, it would revolutionize not only resource distribution but also the power dynamics within the Council. The Zenethi Empire had long held sway due to their control over critical resources, but if GDS removed these leverage points, the Empire would no longer hold the same influence. Humanity's proposal wasn't just a technological offering, it was a paradigm shift that would rewrite the fabric of galactic politics. As murmurs of awe and skepticism filled the room, Vex knew that he needed to tread carefully. This technology is astounding, Ambassador Rodriguez, but for something of this magnitude, a larger-scale test may be necessary. If it is as effective as you claim, humanity may indeed earn the Council's trust and perhaps even the role you seek. Rodriguez nodded, his face a mask of calm control, though Vex sensed the determination in his eyes. We anticipated this, High Counselor. We propose to initiate the GDS across a small but influential sector within Council-controlled space. Should this test succeed, we hope the Council will consider granting humanity the seat we ask for. Supreme Envoy Hrax growled in assent, his eyes gleaming with newfound respect. If it works as promised, I would support their request. Others followed, voices chiming in agreement as factions shifted in the humans' favor. Vex, feeling the weight of the moment, raised a hand once more. Then it is decided. The Council will monitor this test with close scrutiny. Humanity's GDS will be granted access to the Zenethi Kra'thak frontier, a volatile sector with abundant resources and frequent disputes. If it succeeds, the Council shall convene to re-evaluate humanity's standing. As the Council session concluded, Vex lingered, watching the humans as they conferred quietly among themselves. They had come to the Council as outsiders, but in a matter of hours, they had earned respect, admiration, and no small amount of trepidation. Before leaving, Vex approached Ambassador Rodriguez, his curiosity overcoming his cautious demeanor. Ambassador, he said quietly, I must ask, what inspired humanity to develop a technology of this scale and ambition? Rodriguez paused, a thoughtful expression crossing his face. We've seen our world on the brink, High Counselor. Humanity was forced to innovate, to solve crises that could have destroyed us. We adapted. But we never forgot that peace is fragile, and survival requires more than brute strength. Perhaps that's what led us here. With that, he gave Vex a respectful nod before rejoining Blackwood. Vex watched them disappear through the council hall doors, feeling both a newfound admiration and an uneasy sense of foreboding. As the humans departed, the council chamber fell silent once more. In the coming days, they would witness the GDS in action, but Vex sensed that the real test lay ahead. Humanity's gift was a spark, a catalyst that had the power to unify the galaxy or unravel it. In that moment, Vex realized that humanity had forever changed the course of galactic history, and the Council would never be the same again. The Frontier Test. The Zenethi Kra'thak frontier was infamous throughout the galaxy. It was a swath of space rife with contested worlds, mineral-rich asteroid belts, and dense trade routes that often erupted into skirmishes over rights and resources. The Council had tried for years to stabilize this volatile sector, but even the most sophisticated negotiation tactics had only managed to maintain a fragile peace. The entire galaxy watched with bated breath as humanity's Galactic Distribution System, GDS, was deployed there. tasked with achieving what diplomacy and might had failed to do. High Counselor Vex Brightstar stood in the Council's observation chamber, a sleek, domed room filled with monitors and holographic displays offering live updates from the frontier. Beside him were some of the Council's most respected members, including Supreme Envoy Hrax, who, despite his cautious nature, couldn't hide his anticipation. The human representatives, Ambassador Marcus Rodriguez and Trade Minister Luna Blackwood, stood at a console, coordinating the final setup. They had invited several counselors to observe the test firsthand, a gesture of transparency intended to ease the Council's skepticism. Activating GDS in the Zenethi and Kra'thak frontier, Blackwood announced, her voice steady, eyes scanning the data as the system went live. Within seconds, a network of lights illuminated on the holographic map, each light representing a trade station, planetary port, or mining outpost. Resource flows and transit routes began to adjust in real time as the GDS took over. As Vex and the other counselors watched, the system's impact became immediately apparent. Mineral shipments from asteroid fields were rerouted to planets that needed them most, reducing the constant battle for resources. Energy distribution recalibrated, sending surplus from power-rich zones to colonies that were struggling. Even trade ships, which usually braved the most dangerous routes to shave time, were diverted along optimized paths, reducing the risk of piracy and decreasing overall transit times. Supreme Envoy Hrax folded his arms, clearly impressed. Remarkable, the changes are instantaneous. Vex was just as mesmerized. The system's efficiency was undeniable, and in minutes, the frontier had transformed from a chaotic, war-prone region to a streamlined network of interconnected trade routes and cooperative planetary partnerships. Each shift in resource allocation reduced points of friction that had previously caused conflict, and the GDS seemed to predict every possible outcome, adjusting before issues could arise. Ambassador Rodriguez, sensing the counselor's approval, spoke up. The GDS is designed to adapt dynamically to any disturbances. Its predictive algorithms allow it to anticipate shortages, overcrowded routes, or even political shifts, ensuring that every decision benefits the entire network. Vex nodded slowly, though his gaze remained fixed on the display. It's almost too perfect, he murmured, a hint of caution in his tone. He had seen systems fail under unforeseen pressures before, and while the GDS's potential was undeniable, he couldn't shake his skepticism. What happens if there's a significant disruption, one that even the system's algorithms couldn't foresee? As if on cue, an alert blared from one of the displays. The hologram zoomed in to reveal a sudden disturbance. A small Kra'thak fleet had deviated from its route and was now encroaching on a mining outpost within Zenethi territory. The room fell silent as everyone watched, tense with anticipation. This was precisely the sort of incident that had sparked conflicts in the past. Supreme Envoy Hrax's eyes narrowed. That fleet was supposed to be on a resource-gathering mission. Why have they diverted? Rodriguez remained calm. Minister Blackwood, adjust the GDS protocols to manage the situation. With a few swift taps on her console, Blackwood activated an alternative set of parameters. Instantly, the system recalculated, redirecting nearby Zenethi resources to the affected outpost while simultaneously sending a coded signal to the Kra'thak fleet, rerouting them to a mining site with ample resources that wouldn't infringe on Zenethi territory. The counselors watched as the Kra'thak fleet received the instructions, acknowledged them, and shifted course. A crisis had been averted, and not a single shot had been fired. Vex exhaled, unable to hide his relief. Impressive. The GDS not only diffuses conflicts, but it also directs species toward cooperation without any need for negotiation. Supreme Envoy Hrax gave a slow nod, grudging respect in his eyes. Your system is formidable, he admitted, though he cast a wary look at the human delegation. But you must understand, Ambassador Rodriguez, such power is not without its risks. A system that can predict and influence trade and resource flow on this scale could, in the wrong hands, become a weapon. Rodriguez met Hrax's gaze steadily. We understand the concern, Supreme Envoy. That's why we propose that the GDS remains under the supervision of the Galactic Council, with humanity as its operators but not its sole controllers. We are not here to rule, but to offer a tool that can elevate the galaxy. Vex exchanged a look with Hrax, then turned to the human representatives. Your intentions appear genuine, Ambassador, but this technology changes everything. It could elevate or destabilize the galaxy. As you say, we must move cautiously. even as we consider the unprecedented potential of your proposal." As the initial test concluded, the frontier began to stabilize even further, and the councillors could hardly argue against the results. Crime rates were plummeting, trade was booming, and skirmishes were nearly non-existent, all thanks to the GDS. Yet the council knew they stood at a crossroads. Vex motioned for the attention of the councillors present. "Let us convene a full session of the council. It's clear that the GDS has merit, but before any decisions are made, we must determine the terms of its use and the role that humanity will play in its oversight." Rodriguez and Blackwood nodded, clearly understanding the weight of the moment. They had achieved a remarkable demonstration, but now came the true challenge, convincing the council to embrace this technology and grant humanity the seat they sought. As the councillors filed out of the observation chamber, Vex lingered, deep in thought. The humans had brought them a gift, one that could secure peace and prosperity for generations, but in the hands of any single faction, it could also become a weapon of immense power. And for the first time, he wondered if the humans had planned for this all along. The council's verdict. Days after the demonstration in the Zenethi Kra'thak frontier, the Galactic Council gathered in the Grand Chamber. Representatives from every major species filled the room, their discussions buzzing with anticipation and unease. The successful test of the Galactic Distribution System, GDS, had sparked a mixture of awe, suspicion, and fierce debate. The human delegation had arrived not only as guests but as potential players in a new galactic order. High Counselor Vex Brightstar, seated at the central podium, observed the crowd. Today, he would guide this unprecedented session, a vote that could reshape the galaxy. To his left sat Supreme Envoy Hrax of the Kra'thak Dominion, and to his right, Ambassador Marcus Rodriguez and Trade Minister Luna Blackwood. The humans, despite their relative inexperience in galactic affairs, appeared calm and resolute, as if they had always belonged here. Vex raised his hand, calling for silence. The room settled into an expectant hush. "Esteemed councillors, representatives of the Galactic Council," he began, his voice resonating through the chamber. "We gathered to discuss the implications of humanity's galactic distribution system. We have witnessed its potential to stabilize volatile regions, reduce conflicts, and optimize resources across sectors, but such power demands caution. Therefore, today, we will decide whether to grant humanity an official role in overseeing the GDS under the Council's jurisdiction." He paused, allowing his words to settle. "Ambassador Rodriguez, please address the Council." Rodriguez stood, projecting confidence as he began. "High Counselor Vex, esteemed members of the Council, we thank you for your time and your trust. Humanity understands the magnitude of the technology we have introduced. The GDS was not designed to dominate or control but to enable cooperation and stability. We offer it to the Council as a shared resource, a tool for peace. In return, we ask for a seat here, to ensure that we can assist in its operation and advancement." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Some representatives nodded in approval, while others exchanged skeptical glances. The question loomed large: could humanity, a younger civilization, be trusted with such a monumental responsibility? A counselor from the Shelver Collective, a species known for their prudence, raised an objection. "Ambassador Rodriguez, your system's power is undeniable, but so are its risks. By influencing trade, resource allocation, and even interstellar routes, the GDS could serve as a tool of control. What assurance do we have that humanity will not use it to gain undue influence?" Rodriguez met the counselor's gaze, unflinching. "The GDS will operate under Council oversight, not ours alone. We have programmed safeguards to ensure that no single species, including humanity, can alter the system's core functions for personal gain. The Council will have full transparency and authority to monitor the GDS at all times." Supreme Envoy Hrax leaned forward, his gaze sharp. "And if those safeguards fail? Or if someone finds a way around them?" Minister Blackwood responded calmly. "The system's code is fully available for inspection by the Council's technical experts. Any modifications would require a unanimous Council vote. We welcome all measures to ensure transparency." Councillor Mazanir of the Lasari Confederacy, a species renowned for their intelligence and insight, interjected. "And yet, Ambassador, there's a broader concern. The GDS shifts the balance of power by rendering certain resource monopolies obsolete. The Zenethi Empire and Kra'thak Dominion, among others, rely on control over strategic resources to maintain influence. Are you prepared for the economic and political consequences?" Vex felt the weight of this question. He knew it was true, the GDS threatened the established power structures, including his own empire's hold over key resources, but he also saw the potential for a more peaceful galaxy, one less prone to wars over dwindling supplies. Rodriguez did not hesitate. Councillor Mazanier, the GDS does indeed alter the dynamics of power, but it does so to benefit all species. Every civilization, every individual, stands to gain from a stable, efficient galaxy, and while there will be adjustments, we believe that the long-term benefits far outweigh any short-term disruptions. Vex observed the council, sensing a shift in the room. Humanity's words were compelling, and their willingness to place the GDS under the council's authority had softened some of the councilors' resistance. Still, doubts remained, especially among the older, more powerful species who had much to lose if humanity's technology proved as transformative as promised. With a nod, Vex turned to the councilors. Let us vote. Then, the decision before us is twofold: whether to accept the GDS as a council-regulated resource and, if so, whether humanity shall be granted a permanent seat on the council as its operators. One by one, councilors cast their votes. The room filled with a tense, heavy silence as the holographic display tallied the results. Finally, the voting ended, and Vex reviewed the outcome. The council has reached a decision, he announced, his voice steady. The Galactic Distribution System shall be accepted as a council-regulated technology, with oversight and monitoring by all member civilizations. The room murmured with a mix of relief and hesitation. The GDS was now official, a tool that, if successful, would be the most influential innovation in galactic history. Vex continued, a slight pause before the next announcement. Furthermore, humanity shall be granted a provisional seat on the council, with permanent status contingent on the successful operation of the GDS over the next standard year. Rodriguez and Blackwood exchanged a look of restrained triumph. Humanity had been accepted, if only provisionally. They were now part of the council, with a foothold that could grow into true influence. The risk they'd taken in revealing the GDS had paid off. Supreme Envoy Hrax, observing them, spoke in his gravelly voice. Ambassador Rodriguez, Minister Blackwood, know that you have taken a great responsibility upon yourselves. We will hold you accountable, as we do each other. Rodriguez inclined his head respectfully. We accept that responsibility, Supreme Envoy. Humanity has waited for its place among the stars, and we intend to honor the trust you have given us. As the council session adjourned, Vex lingered, watching as the human delegation quietly celebrated their victory. They had achieved more than he had thought possible, and he couldn't deny his growing admiration. Humanity had changed the galaxy's course, perhaps irrevocably. But even as the councilors dispersed, Vex felt an uneasy stirring in his mind. The GDS, for all its promise, was still an unknown quantity, and humanity's role in its operation remained a gamble. They had earned their seat, but the true test was only beginning. As he exited the chamber, Vex couldn't shake the feeling that the galaxy had stepped into uncharted territory. Humanity's gift was indeed transformative, but whether it would be a blessing or a curse remained to be seen. The shifting alliance. Months passed, and the impact of the GDS rippled through the galaxy, touching every planet, every species, every system. As promised, the GDS operated under council oversight, and its successes were undeniable. The Zenethi and Kra'thak frontier, once a region marred by constant skirmishes, had become a hub of peaceful trade. Pirates and raiders, facing fewer chaotic routes to exploit, had retreated to the edges of known space. Planets that had previously struggled with scarcity now thrived, their citizens flourishing in the new era of balanced resource distribution. Humanity, as the system's operators, had proven their dedication and competence. Rodriguez and Blackwood attended every council session, provided regular GDS updates, and answered questions with transparency. Their professionalism earned the trust of many council members who had once doubted them. And yet, as humanity's influence grew, so did the concerns of the council's older, more powerful factions. Vex Brightstar, though impressed with humanity's achievements, felt the undercurrents of tension rising. The GDS's success had eroded the power bases of empires like his own, the Zenethi and the Kra'thak Dominion. Councilors from those factions grew more vocal, subtly questioning humanity's long-term intentions and warning of over-reliance on the GDS. It was clear that the Council's older powers were beginning to feel uneasy. Supreme Envoy Hrax, his respect for humanity tempered by pragmatism, voiced his concerns during one such session. While humanity's GDS has proven its worth, we must consider a future where such influence is not solely in the hands of one species. If the GDS became corrupted, the damage to the galaxy would be catastrophic. Rodriguez, unflinching, replied, Supreme Envoy, humanity has no interest in monopolizing the GDS's influence. We are willing to share its technology, to allow other civilizations to assist in its management. We envision the GDS as a tool of cooperation, not control. Despite Rodriguez's words, suspicions grew. Counselors like Hrax began rallying behind an initiative to distribute control of the GDS among multiple species, citing security as their rationale. While many on the council agreed, others feared the loss of efficiency and coordination that humanity's focused oversight provided. As the debate intensified, Vex found himself torn. He had long respected humanity's diplomacy and ingenuity, yet he also understood the Zenethi's reluctance to let go of their historic influence. Humanity had indeed earned its place on the council, but at a cost that he was only beginning to fully grasp. The crisis unfolds. Just as the council reached an impasse over GDS oversight, a crisis erupted: a planetary rebellion on Vorthax 3, a Zenethi mining colony within the frontier. The rebels, exploiting the wealth generated by the GDS, had grown emboldened, demanding autonomy and a share of their planet's resources. The Zenethi Empire, furious, accused the GDS of fostering unrest by disrupting the traditional control mechanisms that kept their territories in line. In the council chamber, Vex stood before the assembly, his voice edged with anger. The GDS has destabilized our colonies. The Zenethi Empire has always managed its territories with respect and responsibility. Now, rebellion has spread because the GDS undermines our authority, giving these colonies resources we did not authorize. Rodriguez, his expression calm but determined, replied, High Counselor Vex, the GDS operates under council oversight. Its purpose is to balance resources and ensure equitable distribution across the galaxy. We did not foresee that stability would lead to rebellion, but this unrest is the result of long-standing grievances, not the fault of the GDS. The debate grew heated, with factions aligning themselves either for or against humanity. Vex felt a surge of old instincts, the desire to protect his empire, to regain control over his territories. But deep down, he knew that the GDS had exposed cracks in the empire's structure that had existed long before humanity arrived. Supreme Envoy Hrax, sensing an opportunity, proposed a solution. Perhaps this crisis is a sign that the GDS requires broader governance. If multiple species had oversight, we could prevent any single faction from experiencing this destabilization. The council murmured in agreement, and for the first time, humanity found itself on the defensive. Rodriguez and Blackwood exchanged tense glances, understanding the implications. If they lost sole control of the GDS, they risked humanity's influence and the trust they had worked so hard to build. Reluctantly, Rodriguez conceded. We are willing to explore a shared governance model for the GDS. However, we must ensure that its functionality is preserved and that it continues to operate without interference. The council voted in favor of shared oversight. While humanity would remain operators, representatives from various factions, including the Zenethi and Kra'thak, would now be involved in its management. The GDS was no longer just humanity's gift, it was the galaxy's shared tool. The new galactic order. Over the following months, humanity and the council worked to establish a system of cooperative governance for the GDS. Representatives from the Zenethi, Kra'thak, Lissari, and other factions collaborated with humanity's engineers and diplomats, ensuring that every decision was vetted by multiple species. Although this slowed the GDS's responsiveness, it ensured greater transparency and accountability. Under this new structure, humanity no longer held a monopoly on influence but had cemented itself as a trusted member of the galactic community. The GDS continued to foster peace, its predictive algorithms preventing crises before they could escalate. Trade boomed, economies flourished, and the galaxy entered an unprecedented era of prosperity. Yet Vex knew that this peace was fragile. The council had found balance, but it was a delicate one, constantly shifting as new alliances formed and old rivalries simmered. The galaxy was no longer dominated by a few empires but was instead a complex network of interdependence. In a private conversation, Vex spoke with Rodriguez. his voice thoughtful. Ambassador, you have forever changed the galaxy. We now live in a world where no empire holds total control, a world where cooperation is our only path forward. I did not foresee this outcome, and part of me wonders if we have lost something in exchange for this newfound harmony. Rodriguez regarded him with a quiet understanding. High Counselor, humanity learned that true strength lies in unity, in finding common ground despite our differences. The galaxy may have lost certain traditions, but it has gained something far greater, a future built on shared purpose. As Vex looked out over the council chamber, he knew that the galaxy's path had indeed shifted. Humanity had brought more than technology. They had brought a vision of interdependence, a future where peace was not just the absence of war but the presence of mutual respect and shared destiny. The council was no longer a stage for the powerful few. It was a forum for all civilizations, bound together by the GDS, a symbol of the balance they had worked so hard to achieve. And as humanity's seat among the stars solidified, Vex realized that the galaxy was now stronger, not because of its divisions, but because of the unity they had fought to build. In the end, humanity's gift had not just shifted the balance of power, it had transformed the very fabric of the galaxy itself.